In the summer of 1518, Frau Trophäa stepped onto a street and began to dance. There was no music playing, and her movements held no joy. She simply twirled and stomped with a stiff, rigid motion. This is a historical map of Strasbourg, an enclosed, densely packed city within the Holy Roman Empire, where this documented event actually took place. Frau Trophäa kept moving for hours, then days. Her shoes soaked through with blood as her feet rubbed raw against the cobblestones, yet an invisible compulsion forced her to continue through sheer physical agony. Soon, onlookers didn't try to stop her. Instead, they joined her. The single dancer swelled into dozens and eventually hundreds of townspeople, all thrashing and stepping over one another in the narrow streets. The human body can only sustain that level of exertion for so long. Within weeks, the dancers started collapsing. People died from severe dehydration, extreme physical exhaustion, and fatal heart attacks. Science gives us a clear understanding of how biological pathogens, like a flu virus, spread through a dense population. But a physical, self-destructive action shouldn't be contagious. We have to ask how a purely irrational behavior spread person to person, leaving a trail of bodies behind. The local authorities stepped in with a medical diagnosis of the era. They decided the dancers were suffering from a disease of hot blood. Their prescribed cure was highly counterintuitive. The afflicted needed to dance the illness out of their systems. To facilitate this, the city built large wooden stages in the town squares and hired professional musicians to play continuously. This flowchart illustrates exactly how the public health response backfired through a mechanism called social proof. The driving beat of the music and the official stages provided institutional validation, signaling to the crowd that this behavior was correct and expected, escalating the frenzy. With the driving music playing day and night, the afflicted dancers found absolutely no quiet moment to rest. The rhythmic sound drove hundreds of people past their absolute physical breaking points, maximizing the death toll. By applying what they believed was a logical intervention, the 16th century rulers unwittingly weaponized the psychology of the crowd, turning a localized strange occurrence into a mass casualty event. If a modern epidemiologist were to open this cold case today, they would look for a specific trigger. We have three main suspects. The first theory is biological. This image shows a rye stalk infected with ergot, a toxic fungus thriving on damp grain used for local bread. Consuming it induces terrifying hallucinations and severe muscle spasms. To observers, these uncontrollable twitching spasms closely mimicked dancing. The second theory is cultural. The people of Strasbourg were enduring intense famine and disease. In deeply religious medieval societies, extreme stress often combined with superstitious terror, leading people to believe they were cursed by a divine power. The third suspect is psychological, mass psychogenic illness. This happens when extreme collective societal stress forces a population to manifest involuntary physical symptoms all at once, effectively causing a shared breakdown. Whether the initial spark was a batch of toxic bread or overwhelming religious fear, the engine that actually kept the lethal outbreak burning for weeks was the vulnerability of the human mind. The dancing plague serves as a grim reflection of how human beings operate, even today. As seen in this network diagram, humans are deeply social creatures. Our brains are hardwired to scan the surrounding crowd for behavioral cues to survive. But in large groups, this desire to synchronize becomes dangerous, causing the complete surrender of independent thought. The ultimate tragedy of the 1518 event is that the drive to conform completely overpowered human biology. The need to copy the group overrode the body's most basic instinct for survival. Under the right conditions, the intense need to belong to a crowd will lead people to march or dance directly toward their own demise, completely absent of any logical reason.